What's up guys, DK Jones here and welcome to another Grand Prix weekend preview. And this time it's been a long wait since the last Grand Prix, 3 weeks to be exact. And the last Grand Prix was the Bahrain Grand Prix, which was a very entertaining race. There were battles up and down the field, including the battle between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen right at the top of the field for the race win. It's a battle that stretched throughout the race and it ended up being decided at the end of the race with a few track limits, and Hamilton ended up winning the race. Now we're here at Imola today at the Autodromo Enzo Dino Ferrari, which had its first Grand Prix held in 1980, which is quite some time back. Distance one lap around the circuit is 4.909 kilometers, and well, let's go into depth with this Grand Prix. C2 hards, C3 mediums and C4 softs will be our tyre compounds for this weekend. We're going to have 63 laps of this race, and the lap record is held by Lewis Hamilton, which was a 1:15.484, which was in the Grand Prix last year. The last Imola Grand Prix last year in 2020, we had a podium of Hamilton winning the race and Bottas finishing the Mercedes 1-2 and Ricciardo getting that podium. And our last Grand Prix, as we discussed before, was the Bahrain Grand Prix with Hamilton, Verstappen and Bottas rounding off the podium. And the total race distance will be around 309.049 kilometers. Now without further ado, let me bring you to the hot lap of the Imola Grand Prix. Now credit for this hot lap goes to Joanimater. You can find the link to his channel in the description below. Now we're on the first and only DRS straight of the track, which is a bit odd, into the first turn, which is the first of 4 chicanes on the track, which is quite peculiar, but they're not bus stop chicanes. They're very free-flowing chicanes, so you can carry a lot of speed out of the exits. Into sector 2 now, as we approach a hairpin now that leads on to another straight that leads to turn 8, turn 9 and turn 10, which come up very rapidly. And it's a very tight track this, so I'll be wondering how the cars will be able to make overtakes here. And I forgot to mention, we are in the Ferrari 2017 car, the SF70H, and there's a lot of undulation and elevation change on this track, so it'll be very interesting to see how the cars go about making overtakes. Onto a straight that I really think should be made into a DRS zone, considering the next turn, which would be a good overtaking zone. But into the final corner now, onto the actual DRS zone, onto the main straight, and that is your lap of the Imola Grand Prix. Onto some predictions now, and it's a brand new layout, a bit more organized in my predictions. As you can see, these are qualifying predictions. I'll be qualifying P1 to P10, which is basically just predicting all of Q3. So basically this is what I have gone for. So again, I have gone for a Lewis Hamilton pole position, and if you watched in the Bahrain Grand Prix and qualifying, Max Verstappen actually got pole position. So I think the teams have had some time to regroup after the first race. I think Mercedes might come back a bit faster, but not too much faster, because Verstappen is down there. Lando Norris for P3, which would be his best qualifying so far since the Austrian Grand Prix. Perez, I think it's safe to say in the Bahrain Grand Prix he had a fairly disappointing qualifying, so this would be a good improvement, and hopefully he can improve on the qualifying he had at Bahrain. Bottas to finish P5 in qualifying, which would be very disappointing for him. He'll be hoping to mount a challenge to his teammate Lewis Hamilton. The two Ferraris, I think everyone can agree when I say these two fairly entertained us in qualifying last race, because this season they're very close in ability and they're two very good drivers. I think everyone can remember in Q2 last race when the Ferraris occupied P1 and P2 when Leclerc made the fastest lap and Sainz just bettered him immediately afterwards. So it's going to be a very entertaining teammate rivalry to watch. I think Sainz is just going to outqualify Leclerc in P6. Ricciardo follows them up in P8, Gasly to make Q3, I've gone for, and Alonso rounds up the top 10. Now let's go on to my race predictions. Another new format here, again a bit more organized. As you can see, there are the race predictions. I'm going to predict P1, P2 and P3, which is the podium, the first DNF, a number of DNFs, driver of the day and best of the rest, which best of the rest is just P4. So let's see what exactly I went for. Yes guys, I'm feeling gutsy today. I have gone for a Max Verstappen race win at Imola, which the last time Max Verstappen came to Imola, he DNF'd, I remember quite vividly. Lando Norris to get P2, which would be a very good finish for him, his best race finish of his career, which would be very good, and he'll be followed by his former teammate Carlos Sainz. I think you'd get to see the theme I'm going for. I'm going for a very crazy race here. As you can see, the number of DNFs I've gone for are 6 DNFs. That is because it's a very tight and narrow track with a lot of dirty air, so I think there might be some DNFs here. Maybe not going for Mazepin to be the first DNF might be a mistake, but let's be honest, he can't DNF first twice in a row. Can he? We'll see. Driver of the day, I've gone for Carlos Sainz, of course, for making podium after I predicted him to qualify P6, and best of the race, which is P4, I've gone for Hamilton. Not on pure pace, because that Mercedes is really quick, so on pure pace he wouldn't finish P4. So I've actually imagined something like wrong going on, like a spin or a bad pit stop. It's probably not going to be a bad pit stop because Hamilton has that master luck. So probably a spin, and then he fights his way through the field to get a P4. Now guys, you can predict in this exact format I have gone for here: the podium, first DNF, number of DNFs, driver of the day and best of the race in the comment section. But let's go into your weekend schedule for the Imola Grand Prix. And again, another very well organized setup this time, a bit better than last time. As you can see, it's the weekend schedule, and on Friday we're going to have FP1 11:30 to 12:30, FP2 15 to 16, and on a Saturday we'll have FP3 at 12 to 13 and qualifying at 15 to 16, and of course on Sunday the race at 15. And of course these are track times in Imola and Imola, Italy, so you might have to figure out what time this is where you are. But if you are as excited for the next race as I am, make sure to like the video, and as I said, comment your predictions of the race down in the comment section below. And from me, DK Jones, I will see you next time.